Well, welcome back my gardening friends. It's the 5th of May, May Day bank holiday weekend, and I wanted to give you a tour of plot 1, hashtag starting new allotment. There's a full playlist on hashtag starting new allotment, how I actually built everything here, and obviously the jobs we've got to do. So let's go and have a little look. One of the main jobs is going to be removing the weeds and the raspberry runners, and removing the remaining of the frost damaged strawberry flowers. I'll need to move Allotmental's overwintering potato challenge. It's now broke the surface and the path's not too wide here, and this is my main thoroughfare through. So all the recycled materials I've been picking up just lately, I just need to find a home for those. These are the boards that somebody asked me about. These are plastic. They come in about this width, and I don't know whether you can actually see the patterns on there, but it must have been something to do with what they did in the factory. Obviously they're no longer required. I can use this as a storage area, and this will be where the potatoes go. We've got the wood chips there. I've potted on, moved on all my strawberries, so that area needs tidying up after the high winds. This is the potato, giant potato contraption. I'll need to be putting compost in that. We'll have a little look at any of these fruits that have actually set. There's the remaining potatoes, mainly the second earlies, and a few of the others. These are the leeks that we cut right off above the roots. We'll have a look at them later on in the year. Comfrey's doing good. It won't be long before the bees are on that. And these are some of the other potatoes. These will have to stay on this allotment now. I do spread them about just in case we get blight. I brought some of the sunflowers up because they're trying to get out of the greenhouse, so we need to clear this. This you'll see on plot 1's tour, May Day bank holiday tour. That's part of the staging I've taken out of the shed. And I do need to think about making staging in here, looking at everyone else and the state of my plants. I do really need to have somewhere warmer to harden off. Frosts have been predicted all this weekend, so the fleece is on. Wasn't too worried about the New Year's Day potato. Peach tree is looking a bit sad. It'll look even sadder in a minute. And I will leave the pomegranate in for now, but I may move it outside after I've done some research. But if anybody knows about pomegranates and how well they survive outside, just let me know in the comments, please. Today I'll be thinking about where the Harlequin sunflowers, the multi-headed sunflowers from Bill and Val, will be going. And I've got some more buckets here for the trailing tomatoes. And I'm thinking about putting 2 tomatoes there. I do scatter everything all over the allotment. Got to decide what I'm doing with the rhubarb. I definitely don't need no more rhubarb. And people who know my channel, I'll be creating some trailing, using those 2, the street lamps and the open bottom pots, as for the trailing tomatoes. We're doing that this morning. I need to reduce or remove all these flowers. They do seed well, and as you can see now, some of them are actually growing. The giant Swedes have taken over this plot as well. I've left the water off the feature for now so that we can hear each other, and the guzgogs are forming really nicely on this salvage plant from another allotment. Having quite big issues with rather large rats, and I'm having to go at this bucket rat trap. Now William Coleman suggested that I use the cheese, that sort, the flat cheese. I don't know what sort it's called, but you get it in a little flat square, take the wrappering off, and we'll see if that works. I'm sure the rat could get out, but let's wait and see. So he should run along the pole, go for the food, the pole will spin and he'll go swimming. But that's the remaining compost out of the compost bin, and now I need to sort the compost bin out. I've moved all the compost that's been gathering on this side, the rhubarb leaves, etc., onto that side, and as you can see I've got in another collection. And I just thought I'd show you where I've washed out the exit hole for the juices to flow. It's quite wet in there at the moment, it's sticky, a bit smelly, but we'll get a good layer of straw in there for starters. As you can see, the straw's in the bottom of that side already. Now the straws come from another plot holder. He's actually had a delivery of plants, and it was all wrapped up in several bags, well, in a box of straw, so I've got that. And then we've got the bits of cardboard, just ordinary brown cardboard, and I've also got quite a few cardboard rolls, the ones that I haven't been able to use for the beans and the toilet rolls. That'll go in, and then I will add some chainsaw shavings on top. This will give the juices time to soak through. It'll give the worms somewhere to rest away from all the fresh vegetables, and probably somewhere to breed, because worms love to breed in that corrugated cardboard. Not as if I've watched them or looked at them, honest. So let's get the straw in. Now you might think that's quite high up, but this will go down and condense into about half an inch, you know, sort of 10 mil. That's what I actually found in the bottom of this. So cardboard on top, followed by some shavings. I'll now get all this across here, and that'll be ready then to top up from both sides throughout the summer. I've got quite a few scraps at home now. I can bring those. Now this is all done and dusted, and you might just be able to hear some of the juices are already running out now I've disturbed it. And to keep the worms really happy, I've got them some really nice fresh poo. I'll just scatter that about, they'll love that. This is the liquid that I've got out of the bin over the last 12 months, and I mix it together because different times of the year worms work differently, and it depends on what you actually put into the bin itself. And that's one of the ingredients in my liquid plant food mix, and that's what I'm going to use now to rejuvenate the towers that I'm going to put the trailing tomatoes in on this plot. I don't actually fully measure it out, but I do know roughly how much we need. But you can see how I've mixed my plant foods in my playlist under my homemade liquid plant foods compost mixes and activators. So these two pipes may have some of those cuttings in that we took, but this year I'm going to put the trailing tomatoes in. So all the goodness that's in my liquid plant foods will be absorbed by the spent compost. and will save me money in the future on actually feeding them. Now my grapevine has already been trimmed. I've located all the dead ends and cut those off. So now we should have a plant that's quite viable, and even these here, you can see in the middle of the screen where we'll be getting the grapes from. I've cut some from out the back of this because it was digging in my back, and hopefully I'll have the grapes growing from the top here, so I can just sit here and pick one or two off as and when I want to. Let me switch off, guys. I've got the wood in here that I use to keep warm when we are allowed a fire, so I need to move that. Get the potatoes moved to one side, trim the bush up, the pomegranate up, and see where we can put some pots to grow some tomatoes. Sorry to see the peach tree grow, but I did grow this from a peach seed that I found in the compost bin, and it may not have been really viable anyway, not sure. Goodbye. So I know where I am for the greenhouse now by the look of it for the summer. I've just put the sunflowers in there just to protect them, but the main reason is to make sure I know how many tubs I need to fill in the different areas that I've got, because my homemade compost and all the extra bits that we put in, I need to move and make sure I've got enough, basically. But this has been in the way a bit now, and it just makes the whole plot untidy. So I'm going to tackle these not weeds but the flowers. I need to reduce the amount that are there. Yeah, the seedlings there, because they're packed together, they do take some getting out, but I've had a bit of a tidy up. I've moved all the cuttings from the fruit bushes over to the far side, over there, out the way, because I do want to set up now a couple of areas where I want to plant some trailing tomatoes. So what I'll do, I'll use one of my lampshades. I'm going to have to get the spade and dig that in. It's quite hard. That's better. Managed to dig round so I can push that right in. You've seen these before, and these buckets, I cut the hole in the bottom, and if by magic they just fit nicely inside, so the roots can go as far down as they want to. It'll draw up the moisture, it'll stop them drying out, and the tomatoes will overhang out there nicely, and I'll be able to have one or two while I'm sitting on the bench in that position in the garden. Now I've got some of these materials here. I didn't know what to do with them, but they will fit in nicely in between these pallets here, so I'll get that done. They're out the way and they'll serve a purpose for now. Well, that's found that a nice home, and even if one or two of our insects, pollinators, can find a little home there just for this summer, I'll be pleased, and it'll be well worth doing. I need to sort this cardboard out now because the leaf mold's dropping right down, and I was thinking about putting all that big wood up here out the way so I can space me potatoes out. And we haven't got a great deal of leaf mould left, so once I've done everything I can get this dried out a little bit, and I might try and make some seed compost. Right, we'll give the strawberries and the raspberries a feed of comfrey. Now, I've been told by several people that when we feed our strawberries or raspberries with comfrey, it ends up tasting like comfrey. So I'm only doing one bed. I'll get that finished off now. So we're at the bottom end of the allotment now, and I've completely overdosed these strawberries here. Okay, stay in. To be truthful now, I think I've got most of the frosted strawberry flowers off. I'm going to continue to remove these, and we can do a taste test from there to there to see if there's any major difference. I've just put some more urine and fish poo on the leaves, and I'll get the cardboard under this beam now. It's the cardboard back, and that will encourage the worms to come to the surface. And I'm not putting the wood here because I do need to get access to this at least every 2 weeks to keep the moisture content up on my leaf mould. There's 20 1-ton bags in that one, and this one has got 18 bags in, and it's over 20 months old now. And this is my asparagus that just appeared here, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, but quite proud of oh, that shouldn't have happened, but still got to cut it off at the bottom. Lovely stuff, and there's still more shoots coming. We'll leave those for next week. Shan't waste that bit, but that's going straight into a plastic bag, and I'll be having that on my Sunday dinner. Lots of girth, not much length, but by the look of it, it's got plenty of length as well. So this is my strawberry tower with a built-in wormery, and I've had to change it. This container there was actually underneath that, but it kept overflowing, so I've reverted back to my usual method of the plastic mesh to stop the worms drowning, and it can be emptied as and when required. The fruit bushes can now stay along this side, out the way. Now everything else is coming together. And the trailing tomato there to fill, and there's that tree that does seem to be living. I did get most of the root, as you see. I don't know whether it's a dwarf rootstock or not, but bar gum, it certainly bulked out well. But we must keep our trees on our allotments to about that height, about 6 foot. Let's have a quick look at them before we go. This is the cherry. I didn't get no cherries last year. Not sure whether they've set or not. Looking at that one, maybe, perhaps that's what I'm looking for. But they'll soon come on. This is the pear, and looking at the floor, there isn't many set, which is probably a good thing. But as you can see there, we've got a few there, so, and some more there. Don't they come on quickly? Can't see nothing on the plum. Oh, we may have a plum. One's better than nothing. These are the Braeburn apples. No doubt I will, and we can see there. Let's have a quick look at the other row. So this is at the top, and we've got one there. This is the other plum, and you may not be able to see them very well. The light's not good, but we have got some plums set there for now. Not sure about this pair. Looks reasonably healthy. And this is the apple tree that I wasn't happy with, that I was going to start grafting onto, but I haven't had a chance yet. And I'm taking continual harvests from this rhubarb, and as you can see, it's quite prolific. I'm only picking the medium to large sticks, leaving the small ones to die off to feed the crowns. Well, it's time for a sit down. I've spent about 3 hours here this morning, and I can see me spending another 2 hours to clear up the mess from clearing up the mess. I'm going to get myself a nice cup of coffee going and enjoy the rest of this Sunday over the bank holiday weekend. Happy gardening to you all. Thank you very much for all the new subscribers, your comments, your likes, your shares, and also your dislikes, because the dislikes are interaction and YouTube loves it. Till next time, my friends, ta-ra for now.